Alright, so here we go at the very beginning. Right at the beginning I'm going to try to point out the most important thing you're going to want to do to focus on to move forward is probably going to be your spacing, which just means you don't want to be too far away from any of your other teammates and you don't want to be too close in crowding them. So you want to make sure that everybody's evenly spaced out, and I'll kind of try to show you about what that distance is as we go through this replay. So let's go ahead and kick it off. And right off the bat, I'd say when you're in that position, you need to be the goalie here. So Peter's going to go for the kickoff. Shadow Step is either going to cheat up to play a stop on the ball, or he can go for this boost over here and move up. Your job in the back position is to sneak up, take that one little dot right in front of you, and to sit in goal and wait to see what happens on this kick. Because if that goes poorly and y'all are both out of net, that goal's wide open. And the most important thing is scoring goals is nice, but making sure the opponents don't score goals is what's going to win games. It's more important to be defensive than offensive, especially at the lower levels when people make lots of mistakes. You want to minimize your mistakes and then try to capitalize on theirs and bank on the fact that they're going to make more mistakes than you. So let's go back and look at this. Kick off and go for boost and miss it. And at this point you'll see already now Peter Power is up on offense all by himself. He's got nobody up to support him, and he doesn't have anybody in the back ready to come up. Shadow Step should be sitting here in about the middle, and you should actually be all the way up here. What you want to have is a triangle. So you want one guy on this side, on the far side of the goal. You want to be on the far side of a post, maybe about even with him, maybe a little bit further back, and you're just going to be sitting here waiting for a cross to come across the field. And that's what you're going to be looking at if you're in this position. Or the other position is right here. You're looking for either a mistake on his point where it's your turn to come in, or you're looking for a high lob to the top where you can come in for an aerial shot. Right here, Shadow is out of position. He can't really do anything from the back corner. He's way back here, but he isn't really protecting the net. And you can't really do anything from this position because you're just as far away, way too far away from the ball. You can't pressure offense, and then anything, if they hit it kind of right here in this no man's zone, they could easily get a fast break going. So this is kind of that over spacing that you want to try to avoid. You want to be a little bit closer, and I'll try to point out some good spacing when I see it. Okay, this right here, this almost looks right. So you have you right here in the middle. You have Shadow Step, who's on the ball, who just missed off, and Peter Power is on the far side, and he should be cutting back this way. This means it's your ball to come in. Peter Power should be rotating out, wide, and back, and Shadow Step should be moving from on the ball to across over here to this side in order to assist you. So let's see how this plays out. So we don't get a great challenge here, which is unfortunate. But you've done your job. You did what you can, and now it's up to Peter Power to go back, and his job is to go straight towards net. Shadow Step should actually, he's on the wrong side of a ball. He needs to be going back behind Peter Power, ready to replace Peter as soon as he comes across. In this situation, because of where it is, Shadow may want to play this, and Peter coming back, but based off of the rotations, that would be standard for Shadow to go back. But due to the fact that he was on this side, cutting down this way, and you had a not so favorable attempt here, it would be okay for Shadow to try to clear this. But he does the standard thing. He kind of cuts across and then goes around and leaves it for Peter. Unfortunately, he's going way too far in order to do so because he cut across this way. The problem with that is you want to go wide and around. That way you come from the backside aiming towards the ball. And you see now Shadow is kind of stuck going into the net a little bit and kind of in a weird spot. At this point it is up to Shadow to contest this, but he had a weird angle coming around. He had to flip a quick Yui in order to do a full 180 in order to contest that, which made that difficult. Finally, for you right here, after you've missed, you can't come back this side. Coming back ball side is an absolute no-no. What you do instead is you don't want to get in the way of either Peter Power or Shadow Step, who's trying to clear it back right out this way. So what you do instead is you're going to go wide around this way, and you kind of want to go outside the sweeper box. And your job is to fill around behind Shadow Step, and you're going to touch it after Shadow Step. So the order of how this plays is Peter goes for it, and Shadow moves to net to replace him. After Peter goes, then Shadow goes, and by that time you should have been able to drive all the way around here and be in a position to come into net. When you come in this way right here, even though your teammates make a mistake, the only thing you can do right here is own goal. The only thing you're doing right here is you're making it one. Look at how hard that is for Shadow Step now to clear it. So he may have been able to clear it sideways to the corner because Thompson's coming in this way, but with you coming in this way trying to pinch it, there's no way that ball can go anywhere except into this net. Okay, so now we got to reset. You're in the middle, you're in a cheat position. So you have two choices. You can either slowly cheat up behind Shadow Step and hope that he gets a favorable touch that you can come off of, or you can book it right over here to the left and grab that corner boost. You decide to go for corner boost and come up here. And good, you're coming up on offense. That perfect positioning right here. You got your triangle, you got him coming in here, you moving up on the offensive side, on the far side of the goalpost. That's important. You want to stay into this corner, and then the other guy right here should be making his way towards right about midfield, ready to come in and assist Shadow Step if necessary. Okay, I'm going to pause right here. This is a bad rotation by you right here. So what you're going to do right here is you always want to be rotating from the back side towards the ball. So you'll see how Shadow Step comes off here. The next person to challenge him would be the one from the back, to be Peter Power, coming forward. So when he comes forward, Shadow Step moves around to the side, and your job actually is to be booking it back. So rather than cutting it all the way across over here, because you don't really have much of an angle, the only thing you can maybe hope to do is bounce it off that wall back to the middle. But even if you do that, that's a wide open goal over here. So instead what you want to do is you want to follow this path down here, and you want to go towards the backside goalpost, and your job is to defend. So you're going to leave this ball for Peter to do whatever he's going to do, and you're going to be behind him rotating back here, watching Peter to see if you need to come in to help him, or if he doesn't get a good challenge and you need to be goalie. So Peter gets a good hit here. If Shadow Step, you'll see he's already given up on the play. He's booking it back. If he had cut across here, then he could be in a position over here to make a decent challenge, maybe get a nice little redirect into the goal. Things maybe could have happened had he gone across that way. Instead, he challenges late and decides to come back and just kind of gives up on the play. One thing you definitely don't want to do is when you're playing threes, you want to have one person always challenging the ball, one person always an assist ready for a pass, and one person always ready to back him up. So you don't want to give him this much space like Shadow Step did. If you go back and look at how much time he had, so he goes the wrong way, and then he comes here, he could just keep going up here to try to challenge on the wall, do any kind of something like here. His job is to make Sandman's job as hard as possible, to make him rush his job to hit it off here, so that you coming on the backside, where are you? Oh, you're way over here. First of all, you never want to be this far away. Goes back to that spacing. Even if you don't have boost, you're better off picking up just little boost pads here and making sure you're in the right spot to be able to come in and challenge this. So he could have challenged that way sooner. Instead, he misses it, and now okay, but he stays with it, and that's also bad. If you ever get on the wrong side of the ball, you want to let the ball go, as long as you have somebody behind you, because notice he has both of you guys in the back here to help him out, so there's no need for him to do this little cut around here. So he gives him too much space, and then he fails here, he's on the wrong side, and then kind of cuts it across to nobody. Whereas if Peter Power or you had gone in there, they could have gotten a much better challenge and actually maybe hit it down towards the side. Here, y'all definitely need to not be so close. So I'm not exactly sure how this happened. Let's back it up and see how you and Peter got so intertwined. Okay, and this goes back to the spacing I was talking about here. So Peter is actually doing pretty much what he's supposed to do. He's on the back side and he's cutting back around here for this. And he's expecting to see you already coming up from here to challenge this. And when he doesn't see that, he starts to panic because he thinks that you're right here. So when that happens, he says, oh, okay, my buddy isn't in net where I thought he was. He's not coming up to challenge this. Now I need to go. And at this point, you need to recognize that. Because if you look at your view, you can see him, he can't see you. Because you were sitting too far back. So you need to slow down and concede this play to Peter because he's adapting to the fact that you were already too far back. The man in the back has a vision of everything, this being you. You can see both your teammates. If you can see both your teammates, that automatically means that you were the man in the back and you need to be in a more defensive position. So when you book it forward like this, you're opening yourself up to a lot of very costly mistakes because if anything goes wrong, there's nobody on the back to help out here. Secondly, the intuition shouldn't be to book it this way because Shadow Step is already on the ball. He's moving this way and he's got it towards the right. The instinct should be to move up to the left. One of you should be on this corner and one of you should be back. So not only did y'all double commit this way, y'all both double committed to the wrong spot, making it a triple commit with Shadow Step. Alright, you recognize that you move back, and now we're starting to get into a triangle. This is more like what we want to look like. You're in a tough situation here because you were going the wrong way. That was a good block. This is really bad by Shadow Step. If you notice, he's going straight down the middle of the field. He needs to be going more this way because all he's doing is he's getting in Peter's way to come up here. Shadow isn't the one who's going to be contesting this. He's going to be replacing Peter. So by cutting across the middle of the field here, he's getting in Peter's way and causing confusion. Okay. Here's something that you see very, very commonly down in the gold and below ranks is the three-man overload. So all three people are on the same side of the field, and this whole half is wide open. So if Orange Team was on point, they would be popping it over this way, as far as they can go, and leaving it out for Sandman to come for, look at all this space. He has all this room to come anywhere and launch it anywhere in here. So this needs to be addressed. We're getting a little bit too commonly, like, you want to be, like, it's instinctive to be right behind the ball. You think you're in a good defensive spot because you're right along the line to the ball, but that's not the line you need to be on. You need to be on the line to the goal. So you want to be a little bit more centered here. And with everybody being right here, you're losing your number one chance for scoring is the pass across. So the easiest way to score in threes is for one person on, say, the left to pass it to the guy on the other side of the goal who gets a quick touch, redirect, and it happens real quick on a fast change of angle, and that's very hard to defend, but it's not that hard to shoot. So we need to try to get the left and the right spaced out, have two offenses and a defense sitting in the back middle, and that triangle is going to be what makes or breaks you for a long time. This you can't go back for. So let's take a look at where you are. So you see Shadow's on the ball. You would be the man who's across, and Peter's going to be the next man to come in. So Peter is now the one who's coming up to take this touch. Shadow should be going across, and you now have to be Peter's backup, and you're already in the wrong spot here. You've come on the wrong side of the goal. You should be more over here, swinging wide, and you cut across for this touch. The best you could hope to do right here would be to knock it off the wall and back to the middle. But again, if you look at that scenario, even if you were able to do exactly what you're trying to do, you're putting the ball right in the middle with nobody back for an easy fast break. So even if this play goes 100% the way that you're expecting it to go, it's going to go poorly. You can't challenge this coming across. You never want to come from one side of a field to the other side of a field to challenge. You cut across the field away from the ball and then back and then from the back side you come in. And then that's exactly what happens. If we take a look at this, now they have a fast break coming the other way, and they're able to get a wide open net. Whereas if you had just gone back here and swung wide, even if Peter had missed this, you could be probably about right back here, and you'd be right here ready to challenge Thompson, and you'd at least have a chance at saving this play. Instead, you challenged too quickly when it wasn't your turn, and you give up the backside. And even with Thompson, look, Thompson wasn't even able to make the goal. He whiffed it. So if you were able to come into here to challenge, that probably would have been a very easy challenge for you to be able to make this save. And that all just comes down to rotations. Without improving any mechanics from what I'm seeing so far, you should be able to hit at least high gold, changing nothing but your positioning and your spacing with your teammates. Let's continue. Okay, we're getting a lot of looping and turning back. We notice you've been up on left and right. Let's take a look. Let's go back. Take a look at this. Okay. So here you're up, and Peter comes up, and you should be booking it to the right. So or the left. I'm sorry. So you should be in this corner because your teammate Shadow Step, he's too far back, but he is playing back. And you should be kind of closer to the top of a sweeper box here. But you need to be booking it over here to the side, ready for any kind of play over here. And at this point, Peter's back, and now you're the back man, and Shadow should be coming up. But Shadow's too far back. So you cut in here, which is, given the situation, is okay because he made the mistake and you're adapting to it. But if you'll notice, you stick with it again. So you've now gone from right side to left side, cut back across to the right side. You get the touch. You follow the ball to the left side, which you never follow the ball across. That should have been a pass to go the other way. And then you come back in and still trying to get the hit. Meanwhile, there's not a single person anywhere on your 2/3 of the field. So if they get any kind of touch, pop it around the corner, pop it up over the top, anything like this, they have a wide open fast break to this empty net. And that's probably the biggest thing that I've noticed different between your team and their team so far in this game, is that your team is being overly aggressive, not spacing out, overloading on the sides, and leaving wide open spaces towards the net. So they're not doing anything fancy to be able to score these goals. All they're doing is playing more defensively to make sure that you don't get such easy goals that you keep giving them. It's mechanical. I'm not going to worry about that too much. Okay, let's miss here, and he goes for that. At this point, you should be going back this way because Shadow Step's coming up this way and the ball's heading towards the left rather than following it over to the left. You never want to go on the ball slide when you're rotating back. You actually should be rotating back this way. Even though the boost isn't there, you actually don't need the boost. If you'll notice, you're full boosting towards the boost in order to get it, and then you come from the wrong side, whereas it's a lot easier to come from this. And actually, look, that boost would have spawned in time. And then that just becomes a difficult save for both of y'all. Okay, in this positioning, Peter's going to be going for it. Shadow stepping on the outside of the formation, gets to choose to either go for boost or to choose go up, and your job is to guard the net. So you should backpedal right over this one little boost and sit over in net with your 45 boost until you see where the ball's going to go, and you can know whether or not you can move out of net or whether you need to stay in a defensive position. You'll change, that's okay, that's actually not horrible. Typically you want the outside person to be the one going for that, just because he's more likely to hit it this way. And this kind of gives you that overload, but it's not a huge deal. And here you almost start to do it. You should be the offense on this side. Make sure you're not cutting across, because look, this is the overload. You want to be on the right half of the field. You want to stay there. You want to trust your friend, Shadow Step here, to have anything that comes back behind Peter. You don't have Peter's back. You are who Peter's trying to pass to. So you want to position yourself over here so Peter can see you while he's looking at the goal, so that he can cross it across and you can get a little tap right here to net. That's your goal right now. You're looking to get any kind of little free touch goals off of any kind of good center coming off the back post, any of the back wall over here. He's able to pop it up, anything like that. That's your domain right here. Coming in from the right side to change the direction for a quick shot when they're not ready. But instead we get this overload, and this is that line that I've been talking about. This is the line that kills everything. So when all three people get stuck in a line, that is just death for rotations. Because this back man can't do anything. There's nobody who can go over here, and it's just very difficult to fix from this position. So what happens is he doesn't know what to do, and you all just get stopped. This is exactly what happens. You try to move in, and you're waiting for him, and you hit the brakes. And he was trying to come in with a proper spacing, and he has to hit the brakes because you're hitting the brakes. And now everybody has no momentum. You're packed in their corner, and these 3/4 of the field are again wide open for anybody on orange team. If they can get a little pop, say Thompson gets this little pop off the wall and it bounces towards midfield, Shadow steps too far forward, it lands here in midfield, and then Hoots just drives straight forward for a wide open net all the way to the other side. So be careful on this. If you had just gone a little bit wider out that way, as soon as you see him struggling and Shadow comes in, you're watching Shadow to see when you need to leave. And the second you see Shadow challenge, you're booking it back. That way somebody's always here on defense, and you don't get this traffic jam over here in the corner. And if you look at this right here, I bet you Shadow Step has to hit the brakes in order for you to come up forward right here and take that shot. Shadow Step probably could have done that a lot smoother with better momentum because he had the proper spacing, and probably would have had a better chance of hitting that shot. And if you had been over here, you maybe could have gotten a rebound touch, or been booking it back over here for Peter to be able to do something. You know, there's all kinds of options, but as soon as you're all cramped up this close together, you're not going to be able to fool a defender, because even if you get a pass to a friend or change the angle, you're not changing it by very much. It's very easy to adapt to. So spacing is what's going to open up a wider angles, being able to change the angles and throw the defense off, because you can hit the ball faster than you can move. And here we have a triple commit. All three of you are in their box. And luckily that goes in. If that ball didn't go in, which that was a difficult shot. So I'd say, you know, you're not necessarily going to make that 9 times out of 10. Whereas if that doesn't happen and it goes over here, I would say very easily 9 times out of 10, their team is going to be able to run that all the way across the field into an empty net for a goal. So even though that worked out, this time you beat the odds and it's a bad play. So you don't want to necessarily be that aggressive, because the odds of them countering it are better than the odds of you finishing the play. Okay, so here again you're crowding your teammate. So here's the touch, and you're booking it back and around, and Peter's coming in, and you should have Peter's back. You're coming back here to replace Peter in net as he comes forward. But instead of going to net, you try to beat him to the ball, book it across the field, and you see him get the touch, which he should have gotten. And even then, when you see that he's gotten this touch and he's out here, you still book it right after him in order to try to steal the ball, beat him to the ball again. Whereas if you go out this way, he's already beaten Thompson. He can go up the wall, he can hit into the corner, he can knock it around here, he can do anything off the backboard. If you open up a passing lane, he'll get it to you. You're messaging me right now. I promise I'm doing it for you. I'm just going straight in. So let me go ahead and finish up this video so I can get it sent to you. Actually, that's halftime. I'm going to go ahead and pause. I've thrown a lot at you, so I'm going to go ahead and let you take a look at that and see what you think.